This station is Blacktown.
Blacktown Station, one of the most important train stations in Western Sydney and the shoulder of the T1 Western Line. Blacktown is possibly the only train station in the country to have 7 platforms, and one of the best stations served by express services on the Sydney Trains network. The station opened in 1960 as an intermediate stop on the main Western Line, known as Blacktown Road Station. The station was looked down upon by former New South Wales Chief Engineer Captain Martindale, who did not want to officially recognise Blacktown Road Station as complete. Disgruntled contractor John Gibbons, who was responsible for the construction of Blacktown Station and many other parts of the main Western Line, commanded his men to remove some track towards Parramatta. For that, he was jailed and the train station opened without him or his credit. A spite story is definitely not the first impression that they would have wanted, and the development of Western Sydney lagged behind for quite a while, but the development around Blacktown shot up with the urban sprawl of the 50s and 60s, and eventually in the 90s office towers began to appear throughout the area. So the Blacktown train station, which was a former 2-platform side arrangement, which was getting rather overcrowded, needed to be rebuilt. And this rebuild sought to address this problem for a very long time. The station was relocated to the knuckle of the junction of the main Western Line and the Richmond Branch Line, and the Richmond Branch Line received its own dedicated island platform, which increased flexibility on the Richmond Line, but it's the main Western Line that definitely got the most attention. With 5 dedicated platforms, this dramatically increased flexibility for suburban services to Penrith and Emu Plains, and for intercity, regional and freight trains as they can be separated from each other while utilising the crossovers at the up and down ends of the train station. This is crucial to prevent delays on Blue Mountain services to Lithgow and Mount Victoria, the Bathurst Bullet, and trains to go even further to Dubbo. The Grand Concourse on the main Western Line is lined with shops, including takeaway food. From personal experience, it was rather great to have hot food just outside the paid area, especially when I went and it was pouring rain. In the triangle formed by the station, there were new bus bays installed, which provided a reasonable connection to the surrounding areas. Blacktown is a very interesting station, and by far one of the most important aspects of the station and its rebuild was the track layout. The diagram that I'm using was done by hand and the crossovers were drawn from Google Maps. Starting at the up end of the diagram, which is towards the city, is Seven Hills. Seven Hills has suburban train departures on platforms 1 and 2 in the up direction towards Barara on the T1 and Leppington on the T5. T1 and T5 run interlined as far as Harris Park near Parramatta, and intercity and regional trains do not stop at Seven Hills. Down suburban trains depart platforms 3 and 4 on the T5 towards Schofields, Richmond late at night, and the T1 services to Richmond, Schofields late at night, and towards Penrith, and a handful of services to Emu Plains. Regardless on whether it's platform 3 or 4, there is a junction with a connection to a flyover which Richmond bound trains take to jump over the main Western Line tracks. After its descent on the down end of the flyover towards Blacktown, the Richmond and Penrith lines more or less parallel each other, albeit with several crossovers towards Blacktown Station. This increases flexibility quite a bit for the Richmond line, but the most operational complexity is given to the main Western Line. Trains towards Richmond are located somewhat inconveniently on platforms 1 and 2, which are quite a walk from the southern end of the station where the vast majority of people will be going, although it's not so bad if you're going from the bus bays. On the main Western Line platforms, 5 of them. Intercity, suburban and regional trains all stop, so every passenger has access to Blacktown station directly. While Platform 3 does not see regular passenger service, Platforms 4 through 7 do see it. Platforms 4 and 5 are the 2 up platforms, and Platforms 6 and 7 are the 2 down platforms. Rather simple despite the rather daunting track layout and amount of crossovers that there is. It's a bit of a relic of Richmond Junction in Melbourne. The track layout does allow trains to terminate on platforms 5 and 6, and even platform 3, which is probably its main use. While the down end of platform 3 is used to stable trains, the 4-car Oscar when I visited, this completely blocks access to platform 3 from the west towards Doonside and Penrith, and trains that terminate from the up direction can take the flyover towards Richmond to then go through this set of points to continue straight into the station. There is a connection that exists between the main Western Line in the up direction and platform 3, so trains can reverse without a conflict. Platforms 5 and 6 can also have terminations in the up direction, and it can utilise a double crossover back towards Seven Hills to allow this. And there is another crossover towards Seven Hills to allow trains to use both platforms 1 and 2. This should be how outer suburban junctions are designed everywhere. There's a lot of flexibility, but Blacktown is rather unique in its design, being built in the 90s when there was chronic underfunding of trains in favour of motor vehicles like buses and cars. While the station is definitely not the most visually appealing in Sydney or Australia, it's one of the best and most underrated stations in Sydney and also the country. Many more videos of Sydney will be coming and in the near future, and several more installments in the Explained series will be based in Sydney. But until then, thank you so much for watching.